Is on. Good day, everybody. Welcome back to another World in Review. The one who won this week is we're talking about third parties. But first, I think I want to talk about another topic. I'll make 2 videos this week. Don't worry yourself. I want to talk about one topic that I think is important to address before we get on into talking about third parties. And that is a concept which came to my mind when listening to all this, when we're talking about politics, when we're talking about the Ted Cruz basically refusing to endorse Donald Trump and everyone booing him and everything else. Of course, you know, the Republican Party didn't take it very well. The mainstream media is like, you know, giving a little bit of a chuckle and reacting. It's like, oh, look at the Republican Party so falling apart and all that stuff, and, you know, normal fanfares and stuff like that. But there's one kind of angle to it that I haven't really seen covered, so I think it would be a disservice not to cover it, and I think it's a very important topic to talk about when going into talking about possibilities of voting for third parties, and kind of an important foundational thing that people who are going to vote third parties are going to get a lot of resistance on. So I wanted to go over that concept for you today. And that concept is called loyalty. Loyalty is a very important human concept. It basically is sort of the foundation of how society actually really works. The whole, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. We'll work together to solve our problems. You do good things for me, I'll do good things for you, and kumbaya and stuff like that. It's cooperation, most necessarily. Now, loyalty is kind of that foundation of things. You show loyalty to your neighbors, you show loyalty to your family, and they in turn will do things for you that are nice. And, you know, and so you kind of have this whole thing of sticking up for one another in hard times and good times, because loyalty understands the concept that people are going to be down. People are not going to always be at their game 100% of the time. People are going to make mistakes. They're going to do things wrong. We're going to, you know, things are not always going to go the way they want to go. But even regardless if our friend or family or whoever is down, you know, we're going to stick by them even in their worst of times. But sometimes, you know, sometimes things are like, it's so bad that you just can't deal with it anymore, that there's a breaking point. And that's when kind of loyalty kind of breaks and you kind of get this kind of issue that happened at the RNC. You know, Donald Trump crossed the line that Ted Cruz can't forgive, and so he's not going to endorse him. And while the audience at the RNC was booing, you need to understand that the audience at the RNC doesn't like Ted Cruz to begin with. Because the RNC is like a party and they believe in loyalty and all that stuff. And basically, Ted Cruz was the man who came in on the Tea Party movement back in 2010 who said, to heck with loyalty, we're going to vote these guys out. We're going to get them out of here. We've got to get them out. Like if they're not exactly towing the line or doing the things or not talking to Democrats or making Democrats the enemy and not towing the line, we're going to make sure that they don't compromise, basically. And if they compromise, then we're going to kick them out because they're part of the problem. And so it seems to me that it's not surprising and shouldn't be surprising to anyone that Ted Cruz took this route, because he's not a loyal person. He didn't come in on loyalty. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is that no one else is talking about the fact that Donald Trump, if anyone has a loyalty issue, he's probably the second worst guy, if not probably the worst guy. I mean, here's the thing. Ted Cruz at least went, oh yeah, I'll take that pledge. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to support, I'll support the candidate. Basically, when they asked Ted Cruz, they basically asked all the candidates, it's like, well, if whoever wins, I'll back by that candidate. Raise your hand. And he raised his hand. And so did everyone, except for Donald Trump. Donald Trump was like, no, I'm not taking that. If I lose, then, you know, people obviously like me. And so he basically did that, and, you know, he made some voters, I think, scared. Because they're like, oh man, if we don't vote for this guy, he's going to split our vote. So, like, that's basically, I think, why he kind of won after that whole thing, is because he showed it's like, I don't care about your stupid party. I'll go party somewhere else, and I'll bring everyone with me. And then everyone's like, oh gosh, this guy's pretty popular. We better vote for him because all the other ones will get behind him. But, you know, and so, like, there comes that question. But keeping on the topic at hand of loyalty, Donald Trump has proven time and time again he will throw any one of his colleagues under the bus. Now, the funny thing about loyalty is it can be perverted. And as I said, loyalty is at its best when it's a symbiotic relationship, when it's between two individuals who are equally standing out there and equally doing things properly. And, you know, loyalty is returned by loyalty. Like, you work hard for that company helps you when you're down. They give you money, they give you bonuses, they do things. They promote you if you go out of your way and, you know, do things for them and prove that you're a loyal employee. You know, loyalty is returned by something. It has to be returned by something. Otherwise, loyalty is meaningless. And the whole thing breaks down in what it's called a perversion of loyalty, basically. It's like, why would anyone in their right mind be loyal to somebody who's just going to throw them under the bus at the first moment's notice? Because they're scared of them, mostly. And so what ends up happening is that people who are most vile, like mostly phrases, angry about, it's really hot, guys, okay? So forgive me if I ramble a little bit. But basically it's like you have people who are very, like, have you ever noticed that the people who are most adamantly, like, I respect loyalty. Loyalty is what I respect loyalty, are the very same people who are the most disloyal if the shoes were on the other foot. And what I mean by that is they expect you to kiss their ring. They expect you to get on your knees. They expect you to grovel. But in return, they give you nothing. They give you nothing. It's an expectation. You're expected to be loyal. That is the default. It's not a grandeur. It's not a generosity thing that you're supposed to be. They expect you to be loyal to them. And Donald Trump is the very essence of that. And Ted Cruz is a little bit of that too. And I could tell you, if the shoe were on the other foot and Donald Trump was having to go to the RNC convention for Ted Cruz, he would either not be there because he'd be running for a third party, or he would do the same thing Ted Cruz did, or he'd do what Kasich is doing and not showing up at all. So Donald Trump would do the same thing that Ted Cruz kind of did, and yet they're applauding him because Donald Trump looks like the good guy here. It's like, no, he's not, because if the shoe were on the other foot, it'd be the same freaking thing. They're both only loyal to themselves. They're both only loyal to their ideals of the future under themselves. Like, they only see themselves leading, and they can't see a future in which anyone else is leading. And that's a problem. That's a huge, huge problem. And so when talking about the idea of loyalty, you need to understand when the concept of loyalty is being perverted in order to try and sway individuals into being servitude. Like, back in the day, like, the concept of loyalty, in essence, is kind of how you get that whole servant versus, master kind of mentality going at the most perverse level. It's like, you need to be loyal to me. You need to be respectful of me. Because I have power and I have things and I have connections and you don't. So if you prove your loyalty to me, maybe you someday can be that. Here's the thing, guys. I'm a kangaroo. I'm in a suit. I know what a mob is, all right? And when you ask an individual to give up their family for your family, that is mob. That is a mob. The Republican Party was supposed to be pro-family, right? So they expected a man who had his wife and his father deeply and gravely insulted by their presumptive nominee not their presumptive nominee, their actual nominee now. We have to toss that verbiage from our mouths. Donald Trump is now the nominee for the Republican Party, guys. And this man insulted this other man's wife and his father deeply. And you expect him to go, oh yeah, this guy's great. I want this guy. No! You don't want this guy. He doesn't want that guy. You want that guy, maybe. And you might not like Cruz all that much. It's well known you guys don't like Cruz all that much. But if it were you, if I made a yo mama joke at you guys and then said, hey, I'm okay, right? You're going to nominate me, right? You're going to go, no! Why would I do that? You just said my mama's so fat that when my father had to go get a marriage ring, he had to fly to Saturn and pick up one of hers. Why would I vote for you? Why would I nominate you? You just insulted my mama, man. You just insulted my mama. Why would you do that? And so, here's the thing. You have to ask yourself, it's like, are we pro-family? If so, then what Cruz did was what any Republican should do. He stood up for his actual family over top of his mob family, which is just a group of people they happen to hang out with who agree on different things. We all have our own little quote-unquote mob families. I'm a furry. So we have we get together, we have a little kinship with them. I hang out with sometimes and we talk. And it's kind of a spirited and fun thing. And so, political parties are the same way. People get together, they talk, they rebel rouse. They act like family to one another. And sometimes they're even a replacement for a family that may not be the best ones that they were born into. Sometimes. A lot of times in the furry fandom, but mine's actually an exception. My family's freaking great. I love my family. I love my nuclear family. And that's great because I hear so many exceptions to that rule. I feel like I'm in the minority in that case. But that in regards, it's like if somebody insulted my mama or my father or my sister or anyone, I don't have a wife. If someone did that, I wouldn't be able to endorse them. I wouldn't be able to stand up there and go, oh yeah, that guy's okay. No, because then I would have insulted my mother, my father, my sister, my brother grievously. I would have done it grievously. I would have shamed them just as bad. It would have been as if they had been made fun of by a prominent politician again. It would be opening up that same wound. And how could you expect Cruz to sleep at night if he endorsed Donald Trump? Well, I could tell you exactly how he would sleep at night. He would sleep at night on the couch. Because his wife would go, you endorsed who? You endorsed who? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You know what? If you like Donald Trump so much, why don't you go sleep with him? Yeah, go sleep on the couch. Please, take your stupid little elephant plushie with you. Get down there. Just hug it up and hug your little elephant until you fall asleep. Because you ain't getting none from me. You get kicked out into the doghouse like so fast, guys. Here's the thing: he had to stand up there and take your booze for 2 minutes maybe tops. If he endorsed Donald Trump, he'd have to go home to his wife, have arguments over why he has to sacrifice, her honor for this man and this party. And he would be arguing with her about that again and again and again for a year. There's no frickin' reason for him to do it. And if you really believe that family comes first and that the nuclear family is an important construct and it should be expressed in such a way, you should stand behind Cruz when he says, I can't get behind a man who insulted my father and my wife. I can't do it. And so when talking about loyalty, it's important to understand things. And the vice president nominee for the Republican Party, Mr. Pence, has famously said, I am a Christian, an American, and a conservative, in that order. Which is an interesting statement, because I don't think the man he's behind is very Christian-esque. He might say, "Oh yeah, the Bible's great," but he's just saying that. Like, he hasn't read the thing. He doesn't know what it says. He just knows that everyone else likes it, so he's like, "Oh yeah, that thing's awesome." You know what I mean? And the way he acts is just extremely unchristian-like, and it's like, it's very un-Christ-like. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's antichrist, because that brings up a whole other can of worms and connotations, but I would say that he is very, very, very flawed, and he doesn't see himself that way. As every mortal being is flawed and stuff like that. And this rambling aside, it's like, this is why I'm doing these videos. I'm going to be doing these videos on third-party things, is because we need more competition. And I'm going to go over this again on the next video, but basically the Democrat and the Republican Party have become the Time Warner and Comcast of politics. They're old, they're rickety, they're getting to the point where they're not listening to the people who are replacing the older generations. They're fighting the same 50s versus 60s mentality that they've always done, and it's going to change. And it's going to change real quick. And I think a lot of people are saying, we need to move forward. Well, we obviously aren't going to do it this time around, and I'll go over this on the next video, I guess, and I'm rambling, but in essence, when it comes to loyalty, don't let anyone ever trick you into saying you're being disloyal, because loyalty expects things in return. The United States, and how does it go? Like, when you be loyal to the Stars and Stripes as an American, you are loyal to the flag because, and people expect, you should be loyal to the flag because the government gives you stuff in return. And the things it gives you in return is, like, other than social programs and stuff like that, is the Constitution, is the 10, basically the 10, the Bill of Rights. You know what I mean? That's what they give you. They give you that and all the amendments afterwards. They give you the free speech. It's like the government gives that to you. Like, it's supposed to be just like it is. It's something that's expected in America, to the point where it's like people will misconstrue that it's being given out by individuals instead of by government organizations. But it's like, those things are inherent in this government, and that's why you would show your loyalty to the flag, is because they give you those things in return. It's like, if you get behind us as a country, as citizens of this country, in return we promise not to prosecute you for what you say. We promise not, even if it's controversial to the government, we promise we promise the right to bear arms, we promise all these things. Due process, all that. Those are the things that we give you in return for loyalty to this flag, to this country. And every government has those things. But there are governments that pervert loyalty. And, because a good government, when we're talking about loyalty, a good government will do that little give and take. They'll say, you be loyal to us, and this is what we give you as a citizen in return. You get something as a citizen for being loyal to your country. You get the freedom that you need to do to go around and do things like that. But there are other countries out there that pervert that loyalty, that do the very same thing that, basically, in my mind, the Republican Party did by booing at, Ted Cruz, or by just blindly getting behind Trump. It's like, what is Donald Trump going to give you in return for his loyalty? Keeping Clinton out of the White House? I highly doubt it. What else is he giving you? What else is Donald Trump giving the Republican Party? That should be the question. He's like, well, I'm giving you a chance to take the White House back. It's like, okay, but what else? Like, are you going to promote our platform, or are you just, that's what he's giving them, in essence. And whether or not he succeeds or not is yet to be seen, but it's like, I don't see it. I just don't see it. Anyway, I think I got off on topic there. But anyways, but what I'm essentially saying is that when you give loyalty to someone, you expect something in return. And so a lot of countries out there will do as many people have done in politics, and that is they'll pervert loyalty. It's like they will try to force loyalty. It's like, you need to be loyal to us, or we'll, like, if you're not loyal to us, we will go after you. Like, that's when you pervert loyalty. It's like, well, you can be loyal to me. Like, good loyalty is like, if you're loyal to me, you get benefits. You know what I mean? If you're loyal to me, my company, my government, whatever, you will get benefits for doing so. The perverted side of loyalty is, if you're not loyal to me, then I'm going to come after you, your family, and I'm going to go after you. I'm going to, so basically, because when Ted Cruz and him were rivals, that's essentially what Donald Trump did. Because he's not loyal and not kowtowing to him, he's going after his family. He's going after his father, his mother, his wife, and he's going to do the same thing to the American people. He will do the same thing to the American people. If you're not loyal to him, his party, his cause, he will find ways to try to manipulate things so that you're punished in some way. Because that's what he does to people. He's done it to his own staff. He'll kick them off at random for reasons. He's done it multiple times. He's like, oh, well, this guy's making me look bad. Okay, goodbye. I know you worked hard for me for months and months and months, but goodbye. You're no longer useful to me. So that's the problem. And he's going to treat the American people the same way, and he has said constantly that he looks proudly upon individuals who do the same thing in other countries. It's like, who expect loyalty. Leaders who expect loyalty. You should never expect loyalty. Loyalty is something that is earned. Loyalty is something that should always, 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 always be earned. And Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, quite frankly, both of them haven't earned that from me. So there are certain ones on the Republican ticket that did earn that from me. Unfortunately, they didn't win. But that's where we are. So I think that's why it's important to keep third parties vibrant. And I think it's important for us to raise up third parties. And those who are disenfranchised, both on the left and the right, need to work together in order to make third party options more viable. Because we as the people should have to make sure that we have options in which we can be loyal to. To make sure that there's more freedom for people to make more choices. Because there are a lot of people out there who are running for office, who are running for products and doing things that want your loyalty, that want your patronage, that want your customer, they want things. And we need to ensure that we make an environment that anyone who has a passion, has a drive, has a desire to try and make things better, reaches an audience in which they can come together and do it. And I think if we work towards that goal, then loyalty, we can make sure that loyalty is always a good word and never, ever a bad word. And thank you very much for watching. I know I rambled, but I'm a rambling Roo, and that's what I do. And that was 25 minutes. I got to take a break. Have a good one.